Now that provision isn't being paid, Wendy Williams won't be played by her ex and his new sweetheart. She buckled down for her cash, and you better accept she was at that point kind enough to take care of her ex. They clearly shouldn't request more. What will befall them now that Wendy's show was dropped and she has no work? Tracker is upset and broke. In the event that they want to live off of her, they better gather their packs and search for someone else to kiss off of, in light of the fact that she's not permitting any of this rubbish. Nobody doesn't perceive Wendy Williams, one of the most famous and notable moderators. Acclaim accompanies cash, and obviously, she has a great deal of fans. Wendy was hitched to Kevin Tracker for over 20 years. For quite a long time, their names would just be related with one another in light of the fact that Wendy was a star and Kevin was her right-hand man. He was likewise her supervisor and a maker of the Wendy Williams show. They were a perfect pair and, surprisingly, invited their child Kevin. She presumably didn't anticipate that her significant other should be one of those individuals, since Hussein could do that. Wendy was hitched to Kevin Tracker for over 20 years. Kevin filled in as a maker for Wendy on her tasks for quite a long time, including the memoir Sovereign of Media and the television docuseries The Wendy Williams Venture. Suppose they separated, he would likewise get terminated from every one of his positions, and that is precisely exact thing occurred. Wendy had the looks, the poke, and the cash. How could her significant other possibly want anything more? He could simply chill with all the cash, isn't that so? In any case, much to anyone's dismay, things were going south behind Canberra. She guarantees she doesn't lament tolerating Kevin for every one of the 25 years, despite the fact that she knew he had illicit relationships practically from the outset of their relationship, including before they were hitched. I guess that is what unqualified love resembles. Yet it couldn't be us. Kevin would utilize Wendy's cash to get his special ladies, what's more, being the performing various tasks. Darling that he is. This is her well-deserved cash from hard labor, all squandered on different ladies since her ex-idea he was qualified for it. Paradise did Wendy wrong. He's actually anticipating that she should uphold him. Wendy was very much aware that her ex had utilized the assets to engage his different sweethearts. Yet she didn't actually squint when she discovered that Kevin had been to some degree dedicated to Sharina Hudson, who had filled in as his fancy woman for quite a long time, conceivably beginning in 2007. Only 9 miles from the comfortable house he and Wendy live in, Kevin bought a house for Sharina. She wasn't willing to play stepfather for Kevin and Sharina's adoration youngster, assuming they utilized Wendy's cash when they were all the while dating. Obviously, they'll figure out how to utilize her cash now that she and Kevin are separated, and when they had a girl, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for the network program Have. She petitioned for legal separation in 2019, yet that wasn't the last time she saw him. Then, at that point, without affirming or rejecting that he is the dad of the kid, Tracker apologized freely to Wendy, saying, "I'm not glad for my new lead and acknowledge full responsibility, and sorry to my significant other, my family, and her awesome allies." In a proclamation, Kevin said, "I'm going through a time of reflection and attempting to right a few wrongs." He asserted it was a neighborly separation, the speediest in Hollywood history. However, we accept Wendy simply needed out. Incidentally, Kevin Tracker needs to be paid for provision and youngster support, which isn't possible in light of the fact that their kid isn't so much as a minor any longer. The more clever his plans to get Wendy's cash got, the more disastrous it was the point at which he succumbed to them and chose to give him cash. For the last time of the Andy Williams show, we barely at any point saw Wendy on screen, as she needed to pass on a piece because of numerous diseases, and this prompted the hard choice of dropping the show. Now that Wendy's show is finished and she has no positions, she doesn't have to pay support. By that point, she was basically a jobless, extremely rich person, and Kevin and Sharina returned to asking for their niece. Kevin Tracker, Wendy's ex, asserts that without her monetary assistance, he can't bear the cost of fundamental things like accident protection and month-to-month charges. Tevin Tracker asserts that Wendy has experienced extreme medical problems and has lost monetary command over her cash. The payment permitted him to carry on with a way of life that might have included really focusing on his paramour turned life partner and a genuine youngster father during the marriage, yet this isn't Wendy's concern, right? He has now requested that the court request that his provision installments continue. He believes them should arrange Wendy's watchman to make installments as authoritatively expected under the MSA and severance arrangement since he has fallen behind on his Kevin can't fault Wendy for any of this since they made an arrangement when they got separated, as indicated by their conjugal settlement understanding. In the event that Wendy was not generally utilized, she wouldn't be expected to pay provision to Tracker. The dad of two guaranteed that he wants hip medical procedure yet can't manage the cost of it without protection, and because of non-therapy, he lives with day-to-day torment. And all installments would stop. Consequently, as of October 2021, the discussions program for which Tracker rose to acclaim had been dropped with no evident re-establishment date. In any case, court records demonstrated that Tracker's month-to-month support installments finished in February 2022. Taking into account Wendy has been paying support while being jobless for a couple of months, she is cutting him an excessive amount of slack. Since Kevin accepts he was the show's cerebrums and the explanation it became well known, he maintains that everything should be divided down the middle with Wendy. He even had the self-importance to guarantee credit for the show's prosperity while his ex-named spouse is in the title. Wendy's fans are saying the way that she needed to pay him anything at everything is past me. When he cheated and had a child on her, they most certainly didn't end in constancy on her. A prenup lodge is a sorry reason of a man. It's truly miserable that he has no disgrace asking his ex for her cash. It resembles he's kicking her more with soil by simply asking for additional cash in the wake of undermining her and demolishing a marriage. He's preposterous, and Wendy has consistently guaranteed to be canny, a scholar, and an organizer, so it ought to shock no one that she arranged this out so completely. Apparently nobody comprehends Kevin and Sharina's side by any stretch of the imagination, and he's simply embarrassing himself. Assuming he genuinely accepts that he is Wendy's cerebrum, for what reason doesn't he land his position and pay for his things? He can take this further in court. However much thanks for watching, that is all there is to it for the time being. Now that provision isn't being paid, Wendy Williams won't be played by her ex and his new sweetheart. She buckled down for her cash, and you better accept she was at that point kind enough to take care of her ex. They clearly shouldn't request more. What will befall them now that Wendy's show was